Welcome to Uplink, where we explore the world of digital infrastructure, uncovering the technology fueling AI and cloud innovation with the leaders making it happen. I'm so thrilled to be here. We're at GTC in San Jose. I flew in this morning. When did you?
I did too.
Okay, we both got in this morning from New York.
Yes.
I'm coming from Australia, so I've got you beaten slightly. So what we've got with us today, Renen, who is the founder and CEO of an incredible company called Vast. And it's a rare opportunity to have a conversation. I wanted to chat about a whole range of things, and Renen said he's happy to chat about anything, so we'll see where this conversation goes. Firstly, this is the overnight success story, 10 years in the making. So Vast has literally come out of the gates and has just become so famous in the last probably few years, but you've been at this for 10 years. And prior to that, you had an incredible journey at Extreme.io, where I know you took a company from $0, I think, in revenue to $3 billion in 3 years. So it's not your first go at actual storage. And maybe tell us a little bit about the journey from Extreme.io to Vast. And then I've got a whole range of questions I'd love to ask you about some of your philosophy around what you've built, and then lead into sort of where we're headed from an AI perspective, Neoclouds, you name it. So maybe we'll start with you're at Extreme.io and you decided to do something different, I guess.
Yeah. Well, Extreme.io was acquired into EMC. And so that $3 billion, we had a lot of help from at the time, the best sales force in the world.
So it was acquired before, so you built the product and then came into EMC, and then EMC scaled that through the machine.
We started to build the product. When we were acquired, it was 2 years into it.
Oh, wow.
We didn't actually have a full product yet. It took us another year
Oh,
within
cool.
EMC
Yeah.
to go generally available.
And then crushed it.
And then, yes, that first year was more than
And it was Flash. That was
It was.
and back then, that was pretty different or rare at the time.
It was new.
Yeah.
Hard drives were the predominant.
Spinning discs.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Flash was new. It was a very small system. It was just for VMs and databases. It was a very niche type of product. But it was the early days of all Flash systems.
And so Flash was born, so to speak. And at the time, was it performance, or was it just that Flash had just come into existence and here's this new thing?
So Flash existed for many years, but not in the data center.
USB
It was
disks.
exactly. It was a consumer technology, which is weird. Usually you come from the top down.
That's true.
Flash went bottoms up. And but suddenly it made sense because of performance reasons to start using Flash in the data center. And Extreme.io was one of those first systems.
And so then this is the question that I was thinking. You obviously had this sort of contrarian idea that at the time must have seemed crazy, but today is just so perfectly positioned you for this insane success that you've seen. What was the crazy idea that you had? Was it back there that you had that idea, or did you sort of step out before? Or
It was back then. It was, if you think 10 years back or even 11 years back into 2015, it was AI, and it was very, very early AI.
That is early.
Yeah.
To have that even belief that was going to turn into anything.
I didn't know it would be anything like this, but I thought if we can help build a thinking machine, even if it's a very low probability of success, and even if it never actually materializes, it's worth a shot. 2015, Google just acquired DeepMind.
Yes.
And so it was very, very early days of neural nets starting to show promise. But it was, even then, pretty clear, at least clear to me, that you needed very fast access to a lot of data in order for this to work. And I was a part of EMC. I looked at all of the different systems that we had in-house. None of them were scalable enough. None of them were performant enough to enable this next revolution.
So the theory was that AI is going to have to access so much more data, so much faster, or across a much bigger landscape.
Yes.
And somehow you've got to feed that up to the machine.
That's right.
And I assume old models were just not built that way.
No, there was always a very clear trade-off between performance and capacity in the worlds of storage, in the worlds of data. And you had many different types of systems and there was different tiers.
Yeah.
And there wasn't one that could do both. And it was, again, for these new workloads, required to have not just access to a few numbers, but to pictures and genomes and video and sound, and not just to a few CPUs doing analysis, but to now we know it's GPUs. At the time, that wasn't even clear.
No,
But today we have clusters of 500,000 GPUs, and they need very fast parallel
it's crazy.
access
Yeah,
to all of this data.
yeah. I mean, the world has changed so much, but it's almost like the last 2 years has changed so much. And for you guys, it feels like you've come out as the winner here, because you've built something 10 years ago with this vision to get to this point, and it's sort of just all exploded.
Yeah, I think we were very, very lucky to start when we did
Mm,
because, on the one hand, we could see this revolution begin, and so we architected for it.
yeah.
On the other hand, we were a little bit ahead of when the actual revolution happened, and so we were ready
Yeah,
when it hit.
you're out there waiting for the wave to come.
Yes,
Is
exactly
it
right.
coming and then a tidal wave?
Yes, I'm not a surfer, so I can't give those analogies, but I'm sure
Yeah.
you're a lot better than that.
There's
at
a
that
big
than I
wave
am.
that's coming. I was at the NVIDIA keynote this morning, and, Jensen's up on stage, and it's just so crazy how different the spend has been. And then the two things that I noticed, one is he got on stage and he said, this time last year I stood on stage and I said to the audience that I think I can see $500 billion, so, $500 billion of spend in NVIDIA in this coming year.
Mm.
And this year, so he's like, it's a year later, I can actually see $1 trillion. So he's actually doubled what he did last year. Last year, but between the previous year to last year seemed just unbelievably insane. And now what he's actually doubling that again. And he's saying that, from an inference perspective, it'll just keep going. And all the data that he's put forward is just, it's mind-boggling teraflops and all these numbers and letters and what have you. But
Yes.
he's executed on it last year. It's happening again. And the next slide that I loved, which I thought was really, really interesting, was the percentage breakdown of spend between hyperscalers and neoclouds.
Mhm.
And the fact that if you rewound 3 years ago, I would say, and if you told me that this neocloud phenomenon would even occur, that
Mm.
anyone could even come close to disrupting AWS, Azure, GCP, or even getting just onto the stage,
Yes.
I would have said just not possible. I just wouldn't have believed it to be actually doable. And here's 40% of that chart. Now, tell us about your play in that and how different that is to a hyperscaler.
Yeah.
And how it's changing literally everything we know about tech.
I think Jensen framed it very well a couple months ago when he was in Davos, when he said it's a 5-layer cake
Yeah.
and it's a new stack. All of the parts of that new stack need to be redone. And that's what is enabling these neoclouds to succeed because they're building from the ground up. They're building this new
Literally.
stack.
Yeah. Yeah.
New power, new chips, new software, putting
Yeah.
the models on top and enabling training and inference and fine-tuning in ways that the old clouds aren't able to do this quickly.
Yeah.
And
Which seems like unbelievable that they couldn't have done it as quick.
yeah,
Yeah.
well, I think they didn't notice. And they've gotten so big that it takes them time to
Maneuver.
move the ship.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I think they're realizing now, and they're trying to catch up. In some cases, they'll be successful. In other cases, they won't.
Yeah.
But it's nice. It's nice to see this democratization that's happening.
Yes.
It was in the realm of 3 big companies, and now
Yes.
we're working with maybe 100 of
Yeah.
these neoclouds. And each one is in a different country, and each one is taking a different spin. And it's
Yeah.
really nice to see this diversification
Yeah.
happen.
Well, I was at Cisco for many years and always saw the revolution of cloud coming along. And actually, whilst cloud was incredibly good for 3 companies, there was most of the other vendors that had been spending their lives building out data centers, as an example. If you think of EMCs and or the NetApps of the old days, the sort of storage, and then the Ciscos and the Dells and all the servers. That all sort of was taken away and put into these clouds.
Yes.
But the clouds ended up building most of their own stuff.
They did.
So the vendors community wasn't really leveraged anywhere near as much. Whereas today, you see yourselves, you see all these other players like Cisco's and so forth all coming to the party and all being a part of this big Neocloud play.
Yes.
So for you, this must be like, let's say your revenue without Neocloud would be very, very small, but with it is just, I'm assuming it's insane. Like,
Yeah,
I'm assuming it's a lot better than that previous company you went to 3 billion.
it is a
Yeah.
lot better. And we're doing it ourselves also, which is a lot more
Amazing.
fun.
Yeah.
And
As a private company. Yes.
yes,
Yeah.
we've been growing fast. We've been tripling year over year. I think maybe that's the reason why it seems like it's been overnight,
Yeah.
because as you keep tripling, you suddenly get to large numbers.
So big.
But I agree with you. It's never been the case before that the same company developed the technology and provided the service.
Yeah.
And for 10, 15 years, that was the case with the big three hyperscalers. And I think now we're shifting back to normal, where
Yes.
you have a diversity of technologies
Yes.
and a diversity of service providers, and all of them can be
And
successful
also in
together.
countries as well. Yeah.
Yes,
And what's also really interesting about your business is it's software.
it is.
And you decoupled this linkage between software and hardware, which is a
Yes.
very difficult thing, I assume, to do in storage.
It's not easy, but I think it's required. It's that 5-layer cake. And so you have power, you have hardware, you have software services, and then you have models and applications. And so we want to be the best in that middle layer. And so we started by building a storage system, and then that was good for unstructured data. Very quickly, we realized we need to build a new database that, again, scales and performs at the level that is required for these new models and applications. We then built a data engine, which is a way to orchestrate compute across all of these chips and across geographies in what we call the data space. And so what started as a storage system is now trying to fill out that software infrastructure stack.
So you're beyond storage now.
Yes.
Yeah.
I like to call it the operating system for this new AI era, because in a way we're abstracting these new applications from the new hardware.
Yes.
And filling that middle.
And that's
piece.
what's really interesting. You can actually operate with your pick your hardware.
Correct.
In effect. Yeah. Which
We're
is
partnering with everybody.
yes. Yeah. And that solves a lot of problems. One of the biggest challenges is supply chains.
Yes.
And look, supply chain's really difficult even with a decoupling of the hardware, but I'm sure that puts you in a much better position comparatively at the moment because there's at least choice. People have choice, be that choice because you've got a relationship with the vendor or there's supply or you've got some sort of financial arrangement or whatever it may be. For us right now, it's really just about supply. How quickly can we get the infrastructure? We actually don't care anymore. We just we need to get the infrastructure out to customers.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think there's a big shortage right now because of this AI boom. All of the data needs to move into flash-based solutions, and the flash vendors haven't built enough. And so
Yes.
there's a gap
Yes.
between supply and demand. And like you said, having the choice of whichever one you want, if we are to be the operating system, we need to be working with all of the different hardware vendors. And what I found, especially in the last 6 to 9 months, as this shortage becomes apparent, that the fact that our system is very efficient and that you need a lot less underlying hardware to have very fast access to a lot more information enables people to leverage us in a way that maybe
Yeah, I remember you had some very clever compression algorithms, or is that the appropriate?
it is.
Yeah.
We call it data reduction.
Yes.
And so
To
we
shrink data.
exactly. We take all of this unstructured data, pictures and video, and we find similarities across a global namespace, and then we reduce it down
Yeah.
based on those
Which
similarities.
is, and it's material. It's like
On
very
average,
sizable.
3 to 1.
Yeah. Wow.
And that's on top of a very efficient data protection scheme that doesn't waste a lot of space. And that's on top of a data placement scheme that allows us to use very, very low cost SSDs. And so you can get up to 10 to 1, 20 to 1 savings
Yeah.
when compared to other systems just by using our software.
So, and the other thing I remember is that it's one software platform and it crosses all the types of storage.
That's right. We provide very diverse set of interfaces. And so for storage, we provide block and file and object. Then for database, we provide a SQL interface. For streaming, we provide a Kafka interface. We have Lambda functions in the system. And so really try to be as standard as we can on
And
the
one
outside.
platform across all of that. And I think
One
other
platform.
vendors you have to choose or pick, and each one you can't cross them over.
Correct.
And that's because you've built that from scratch with that expectation.
And we had to, because every one of those pieces we build on top of our architecture, and it's the architecture that allows us to build at the scale and performance and resilience that's required. And so if we were to take open source or try and integrate other systems in, it would dilute the value.
It's crazy. It's awesome what you've built. The scale is just mind-boggling. How do you wake up and triple? Like,
Yeah.
how do you, I mean, as the CEO of a company,
Yeah.
people are aiming to double maximum their business and you're triple. That's like just, it changed everything. Your supply
It
chains,
does.
your hiring, your staff. What have you got staff-wise?
We're just around 1,200 people
Which
today.
is not a lot.
No.
For the revenue that you're doing.
Yeah. We're
No.
growing fast. We're growing efficiently also. So we've been generating cash forever in parallel to growing this fast.
Investors would love you. Yeah.
And yeah, they're not complaining, but it's not easy. Every 6 months, it's a different company.
It's a different company, yeah.
And we need to keep redoing our processes and figuring stuff out over and over again.
Yeah.
It keeps it interesting. It's a lot of fun.
Oh, it's so cool. So you're a private company. You probably hasn't had to raise much if you're actually spinning off cash.
Yeah.
So your investors are going to be loving you. Do you stay private? What's the long-term plans for the business?
That's a good question. I think as we get to a certain size, it makes a lot of sense to be public.
Yeah.
Especially now as our customer base shifts from Neoclouds and frontier model builders into very large enterprises.
Yeah.
They, in some sense, expect us or have more confidence in us if we are public.
Yeah, they do prefer a public, but there's plenty of big private companies.
There are.
So I think you could make your choice either way there.
We're not in a rush
No.
to be public. We're definitely not going public this year, but we have been preparing.
Yeah.
2 years ago.
Keep tripling.
We're trying. It's getting to be very big numbers, and I expect that as we get to bigger and bigger numbers, that the triple
hard
will
for you
turn
to
into
eat.
double.
Yeah, that's fine.
It's not happened.
That's insane.
In fact, we grew faster last year than we did the year before.
Oh, God.
And so growth has been accelerated.
Accelerating growth.
And it's all because of this AI wave. Everybody's realizing that the old stack isn't good for these new applications. And that's driving them over to us.
And the demand is, I mean, people can't actually deliver enough. So even though you've tripled, you're landing with a lot of the Neocloud providers.
Yes.
Announcements came out today. I saw Nebius just added some crazy amount just for one customer, being Meta. But none of them can actually fulfill enough.
No.
And I think if Jensen could make more chips faster, we'd still not be able to give enough, which is why I think his prediction for the $1 trillion, and that's just his revenue.
Yes.
Everyone else scales with that. You guys will flow through with that.
Yes.
And it is not slowing down. The only limiting factor seems to be just the power and space. And maybe the chips, maybe how many chips they can get out.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all physical.
It's hard to build a fab. It's hard to build a power plant. It's hard to do these things that are required. But as everything shifts over to AI, you're going to need a lot more of this.
Yes.
And especially as you see these multiple exponents, one on top of the other. In our world, the world of data, they're building these AI factories and then data starts to accumulate in each one.
Yes.
And nobody wants to delete anything ever.
No.
And so it just keeps growing and growing and growing.
Yes.
And now we have all of these.
It's funny because it gets stickier. It's like we always said, data is like gravity or wherever you're storing it. It's like it's so hard to move.
Yes.
And you've just landed all of this. You probably haven't even had the net retention effect of the expansion and of these things having been landed, installed, and expanding. You're probably going to get that.
It's starting.
It's
depends on who we're talking
put it in,
about,
like a core weave or something may have gone earlier. Yeah.
Our net retention is in the 200% range. And so it's growing fast.
But I think that's even going to wind up because there's so much more opportunity on that. It's all these mind-boggling numbers. It's so rare because we've never had a period certainly in my history where I've seen anything scale or grow like this. Cloud was fast, but
Yes.
nothing comparative. This is
No.
just so much. I mean, they're almost building bigger clouds in the space of a few years. And if you think about the amount of power these things require, it's obliterating anything that
It
was ever
is.
put in place, you know?
Because they have to. Everybody's realizing that when you make an infrastructure investment, it's for 5 years, it's for 7
Yeah.
years. And nobody in their right mind will say that they're not going to do AI in the next 5 or 7 years.
Yeah.
And so everybody needs to move that infrastructure as fast as they possibly
Yes.
can.
Which and comes with the power challenges, the cooling challenges, just how they get the power to each rack. We've got
Yeah.
so many data centers. I mean, we live in so many data centers. We're in 1,000 data centers for the network side and 26 for the compute side. And trying to get someone that can deliver you over about 17 kilowatts in a rack starts to get hard. 20 is like, oh, you're pushing the boundaries. And
Yeah.
here we have 75, 150, and now Jensen's talking about like a megawatt
In one rack.
in a rack.
Yes.
Yeah.
You have to build it from scratch. The entire
Not
thing.
you have to throw it all out. It's just like insane numbers. It's so impressive. All right, so you get to see the most interesting AI companies. A lot of enterprises still trying to figure out what to do with AI. And the reason I'm so bullish on the future is like we haven't scratched the surface yet. The customers we serve for AI are all these AI companies building
Yes.
AI, and they're just going crazy with it. But if you look at the enterprises, they're still going, I haven't figured out what to do with that. You see all these different model providers who are building sort of a private model for the enterprise, and they're getting some traction, but just not what I think will anything like what we will. And I look at my own company, like we haven't replaced all of the teams inside with AI or the structures or anything yet.
Yes.
It's landing. I see it, and I think the world sees it in SaaS platforms that have leveraged it well. And a great example is like Claude for all of our developers.
Mhm.
Yes, everyone is living and breathing in AI. But what are you seeing? Really interesting. I mean, everything's so interesting. But what are some of the interesting companies you're getting to see? I mean, you talked a little bit about genomics and all these
Yes.
things, which are literally this is the stuff that will really change the world. Because I think we haven't yet changed the world with it yet. I think we've got something that will hopefully solve cancer and all these sorts of things.
Should.
Yeah.
Once the AI gets to a level of intelligence that it can solve those hard problems, I think we're still a ways away from that, but it's going in the right direction. The reason I think the enterprise hasn't adopted it yet is because the applications aren't there.
Yeah.
And the enterprise doesn't build their own applications. They need somebody to build it for them.
Agreed. Yeah.
And the first application, of course, was ChatGPT,
Yes.
chatbot.
Yeah.
And now we know that AI is possible. And now we need this operating system layer in order to make it easy for everybody else to build new applications.
Yeah.
Software is the first one beyond ChatGPT
Yes.
because software developers are looking at themselves and trying to make their own life easier.
Yeah.
But I think everything will get disrupted with this new technology. There's not going to be, we're seeing lawyers and accountants, and we're seeing graphics people, every single industry.
Yeah, medical industries.
Yes.
Yeah, it's almost harder to think of something that won't be disrupted. And the next step, the problem is because I would have said, oh well, it's there's a great sign I saw driving down the street. It said, ChatGPT, build me this building. And it was sort of the statement to say that builders are still required. But
for now.
But when we get to robots and when we get the AI, this sort of loop.
Yeah,
that's
robots will build more robots and they need more power. They'll build a power plant and there's not anything left that maybe we will be able to do better than the AI. We'll still do stuff, but they'll be better at it than we are.
So what do we do? What does the future hold? We're a publicly traded company, and a lot of our investors asked us because we had this big SaaS crash, and they called it SaaS apocalypse and sort of the end of the world and all the rest of it. So everyone's very worried about what's going to happen. Everything's going to get disrupted. And I think it's funny because this SaaS apocalypse happened about 4 weeks ago.
Yes.
And the funny part was that investors sort of came forward and said, oh my gosh, this AI could disrupt all software.
It can.
And it's like, well, hang on,
can
3 years ago we knew that.
us
Yeah,
too.
exactly. Did we just wake up to this fact then? It's like, well, I thought we knew this. So, yeah, I mean, obviously it's changing markets. It's changing how companies are getting valued. It's changing how people, how people react. One of the interesting feedbacks we had was people are struggling to pick the winners.
Yeah.
And then they can't pick the losers, or they don't know if they can pick the loser or the winner. So instead of, in the absence of being able to pick either, they've sort of exited out. And so what you've seen is this sort of flight to safety in investments across the world, which is resulting in also on this sort of SaaS crash, or whatever they've referred to it as, SaaS apocalypse. And it's funny. That's why we've seen gold go through the roof. People have gone to mining. They're like, well, if all the robots are here, what's left? It's like mining and what have you. What's your thinking on where the world heads here?
I don't know. I think, well, if AI really can do everything better than we can, then there will be a lot of abundance. Everything will be
Yeah.
available to us. Personalized everything, personalized medicine, personalized software, personalized.
Entertainment.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Um, if there's still things that we are able to do better, then I think we'll just have a lot more done.
Yes.
We will be able to leverage the AI to become more productive,
Yeah.
and one person will be able to do what 100 people could do before.
Yes.
But there will be 100 times more things to do
That's
because that's the way we operate.
and I think that's one of the things I've always seen. And humans have this. We always manage to do this. And whenever something makes us move faster, all we do is turn the treadmill up and
That's
run
right.
faster.
Yes.
And so, even a great example, and this is very small, is that in our business, we're probably coding 10x faster than we were.
Mm.
Maybe it's 5, maybe it's somewhere in that, but it's material. And we have hired more developers
Of course.
because we're doing so much more, and it's flowing onto so many more, and we need more and more and more. And even when we're looking at automatically code checking, we're still needing more humans to be a part of this
That's right.
treadmill that just runs 10x faster.
Yes.
And so we have this habit as humans, instead of relaxing because we invented the calculator or a spreadsheet,
We don't know
we
how.
just run. Yeah. So I feel like we're just going to keep running, and things are going to keep exploding in different ways. And we ended up having more and more and more of everything. It's getting super fast as it is. So
Yes.
I feel less, I think when people would say it's the end of the world and everything's going to be replaced, I just find that humans have this great way of running faster in so many different directions. I just think that's what will end up
I
happening.
think it's the beginning of the world.
Yes.
It's a new world that's
Yes.
starting now.
Yeah.
It'll be hard to recognize the old world 20 years from now.
Well, we can't recognize 2 years ago. Like,
Yes.
honestly, if you had to sit there 2 years ago or 3 years ago before the Neocloud revolution and say that that could even be delivered,
Yes.
it's not possible. I'm so fascinated that was built, because there's only really one. I mean, Nick Jensen created that, literally created this entire new industry. And in theory, the clouds could have probably managed it with their CapEx profiles, but he needed to create diversity in that to de-risk his own position with all the chips that are being manufactured or that will be competitive. And his job now is to just run faster and faster, so it's so hard to catch up. And it's already happening.
I think NVIDIA is really, really good at building an ecosystem around them.
Yes,
We
they
see
are.
that here at GTC.
Yes,
They're elevating all of their partners.
agreed. Not
and-
just one.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, that's
And-
a really good observation. Yes. And then everyone's on board.
Yes.
And everyone's thinking bigger.
Yes.
Together. Yeah.
And that's what Microsoft used to do.
Yeah.
They were elevating all of their partners. I remember seeing an interview with Bill Gates a long time ago where he said for every dollar that Microsoft makes, somebody else should be making $5.
Yeah. Yeah. True.
And that's what
Well, that's
brings you
true.
up.
Yes.
And
yeah.
I think Jensen is doing that very well.
Well, it's working.
Yeah.
And you guys have captured, I think, 90-something+% of all of the AI from what we can see. We've got so much demand come in for your platform, and we're excited to roll your platform out to our 26 different locations coming soon, all on demand or delivered in seconds. And actually, as we've been talking about that with our customers, so many customers are just lining up trying to take more. So it's just this insatiable demand.
Yes.
But it's astounding that the difference between what has been, I think, I know you've been around 10 years, but it's still a new entrant in that, so I guess storage. I know you're more than that, but
Yeah.
yes, pretty amazing that you've disrupted this space.
When you
1,600
grow,
people, and
yeah,
yeah,
when you grow on this exponential curve, then
phew,
it happens.
it's wild.
I've been talking to a lot of people today. Today is the first day of GTC about just how much capacity
They all
is
have.
being
Yeah.
managed on our platform, and it's getting to numbers where we're we're up there.
It's incredible. So AI is a good thing. You guys are not even seeing probably the start of anything to slow. It's just gonna continue to explode.
I think so.
Um,
For the next decade, for sure.
Decade, yeah. It's amazing. How do we build enough power and space for that all? That is probably the only thing that's slowing it down. Can we solve that equation?
I think we need to become better at building things, building physical things.
Yes.
For the last 50 years, we've been
Yep.
better and better at
Software.
building software
Yeah.
and not at building physical
Yes.
infrastructure. This is the time for us to figure that out.
That's so cool. And so as you position, are you also gonna add, take a much bigger step towards all the enterprises and more of a direct sales approach to the enterprise market?
Yes. If you look at our customer base today, more than 2/3 of the logos are enterprises.
Yes.
They're relatively more small
Yeah,
than,
because the scale is so much larger in
yes,
some of those Neoclouds.
and because the enterprises started later with
Yeah.
us, and it's a land and expand type
Yes.
motion. But definitely, we're seeing AI move into production environments within the enterprise.
Yes.
They need it to be simple. They need it to be secure.
Yes.
That's why we've been putting a lot of focus on security
Mhm.
over the last couple of years. And we're trying to enable them to take advantage of everything that the big AI companies have.
And you haven't even scratched the surface on that
It's
side.
just starting.
Yeah, that's why there's just so much momentum behind it. Well, it's been an absolute pleasure to chat with you. Is there anything else you wanted to share? Anything interesting you've got on the horizon? What's something cool you've worked on that you've seen that's fascinating?
I think all of this agentic stuff,
Yes.
people think of agents as the new applications. I think of agents more as artificial people. And especially as you start to have physical AI and robots, and you can embed these agents
Yeah.
within a physical being, there's all kinds of questions around how do they interact with each other? How do we
Yes.
observe?
Yes.
How do we control, make sure nothing bad
Yeah.
happens? How do we enable them to grow and grow at the pace that we want for all of this abundance to really
Absolutely.
become
Yeah.
available? And yeah, that's, I think, where we've been putting most of our focus lately.
We had inside the Latitude business, we have CPU, high performance CPU and GPU on demand. It's in 26 locations. You can just spin it up in 5 seconds. And so people don't have to think about it. They just go and deploy. When the memory situation occurred, we started to see, a lot of folks just go on a rushing. But what we saw the most was the very, very high performative, high memory CPUs that have been run for these sandboxes, and they've just gone through the roof.
Yeah.
And then it's only in the last 2 to 3 months that we've seen this take up. It's sort of like you're watching it change because it's sort of so aggressive.
Yes.
2 to 3 months ago, not much. Now, just insane. And on each CPU, they can run sort of, 500 virtual machines inside the amount of memory or whatever it is. And each one of those, I'm told,
Yes.
is an agent. And each agent is doing something.
Yes.
And this has just gone through the roof. And this isn't even GPU. This is
Yeah.
CPU with very, very high memory. So that is something we've seen 2 months
Yeah.
that we never predicted 3 months ago. You know what I mean?
And people were talking about it 3 months ago,
Yeah.
but it takes a little bit of, that hockey stick
Yeah.
to go up, and then suddenly it explodes.
Oh my God, it
It's exploding
explodes.
now.
Yeah. And there's so many different companies. It's not like one or two companies. There's so many different ones just turning up, just pumping out these AI sandboxes. And we're actually ordering a whole range of infrastructure just to go and support that explosion,
Yes.
which is sort of I guess that's the agentic component flowing through, and everyone's figuring out what agent does what job.
Yes.
Um,
And you start to have these agents that learn and that they fine tune their own models. And that
yes.
each one of them now has a slightly different intelligence.
Yeah.
this one is good at this and this one is good at that, and then they will start to interact with each other.
It's like humans in a company almost.
Exactly.
Which is why, yeah, trying to orchestrate. The problem with humans is you've got to constantly face them in the right direction,
Yeah.
make sure they're running in the right direction, doing the right things. Same thing for these agents, I think.
You'll have manager agent, and they'll
You're doing the wrong thing. You need to
exactly,
get out of bed.
and then they'll disagree with each other, or they'll misunderstand each other, and that's where ideas come from.
This is fascinating.
It'll be
Yeah.
very interesting to see.
That was 3 months ago, wasn't there? So I think if we do this in a year's time, what on earth's going to have changed? It's going to be just so mind-boggling. It's an absolute pleasure. Yeah, thank you for the partnership with us. We're really excited to launch your products globally and make them available to everyone in seconds. And just the mind-boggling success that you've had is, I don't know, there'd be very few companies in the world that have ever done anything like that. There's a couple that we all know of from an AI perspective, but you're right behind them as well. So congratulations, man. It's awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah. Cheers.